Hope you're all doing well. Hope everything's cool. Hope you're mellow. This is a kind of an impromptu show. We have Rebecca here. Good to see you, R. And we're going to talk Bible stuff. We're going to talk Satan's short season uh, and stuff like that. So I wonder if people are going to join us. Let's see. And the first thing I want to show before we get to that, real quick, I just want to show this footage to you guys that I showed last time at the end of the show. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this was this news story broke within the last week, and this happened in Ireland. Okay, check it out. Did you see that? Whammo. Is this a hoax story? Maybe so. But if it's real, that's a hell of a thing, you guys. This world is just getting crazier and crazier. And that's a humdinger, if you ask me. And I filmed this funny looking cloud because clouds look funny these days. They don't look that cool, in my opinion. I was watching an old football show, and they showed footage of Denver, Colorado in the 1970s, and the clouds were like awesome looking. It was 1977. I'm going to show that footage to you guys next time. But looks like some people are showing up. Call for Zero is here. Welcome. And Dean is here. Cheers. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Ahoy. Well, Rebecca, let's start talking about this stuff. I'm interested in this stuff, you guys. This idea of Satan's short season. I'm starting to take Revelations 20 very seriously, and I'm starting to really think about this business because all my life growing up, I always heard people saying Jesus is coming, right? The second coming is nigh, right? Stuff like that. And I always thought that meant good times forever when Christ comes. But really what that means is those people are saying that Christ will come and reign for 1,000 years. And then after that, Satan's short season begins. And the Bible doesn't even, what's all that? Excuse me, folks. All right. Where was I? You know, and what they're really saying is Christ will come for 1,000 years. He'll reign for 1,000 years. Everything will be cool for 1,000 years. And then the devil has a short season, but we don't know how long that lasts because it doesn't specify in the Bible. And I think kind of like, you know, what a ripoff. What a ripoff. And why did they just assume that 1,000-year period is something that will happen in the future? It seemed so obvious to me that something great happened in Earth's past. And I'm talking about those gigantic cathedrals, those beautiful ornate cathedrals that were built in the times of, supposedly built in the times of log cabins and Little House on the Prairie. Yeah. You know, it's pretty clear that they're lying to us about our history. And it would make perfect sense that the devil would tell us that lie to get us all mixed up and confused, keep us in the dark. Let me see what's happening in the chat. Hope everybody's doing good today. Oh, the dust looks off. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's a hoax video. Dr. E is here. Good to see you. Yeah, it seems clear to me that something happened in the Earth's past that was awesome, and that was probably, if we're going to go by the timeline that's laid out in Revelation, that was probably Christ's reign, right? That makes sense. And why on earth does the Statue of Liberty have that weird broken chain on the ankle? Any thoughts, Rebecca? Any thoughts, anybody? This is on my mind this morning. And while I'm waiting for chat, I'm gonna Google and let's just see what the narrative says. I'm gonna Google them. Why is there a chain, a broken chain? They'll probably just say that it symbolizes freedom. Let's see. Yeah, to represent newly achieved freedom. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, and it's also weird that for those of you interested in Mandela effect research, it's weird that the Statue of Liberty is standing on a star fort. When I was growing up, I don't remember that star fort there. In fact, if you look at a bird's eye photograph right now, today, of the Statue of Liberty, you'll see that there's so many things surrounding it on that star fort that the Statue of Liberty isn't even the focal point, the statue itself. But so there's changes on that. Hey, what's happening, Ryan? Good to see you, dude. And Call for Zero, did you release that video that you were talking about? Or is that upcoming in the next few hours? R says, is the broken chain an ME, a Mandela effect? It could be. It could be. I don't remember learning about that. When I think of the Statue of Liberty, I think of like I think it was 1986. I was a sophomore in high school. Maybe it was 85. When I was a freshman, but I remember the refurbishing. Well, it was the 100 year. Let's see. I'm going to look up Statue of Liberty, the founding date. Okay, according to the narrative, it was created between the years 1876 and 1886. So 1886 was the unveiling, if you will, of the Statue of Liberty. The premiere, the big premiere. And 1986 was when they refurbished it. You guys remember that? Weird things happening in the 80s with the Statue of Liberty. Remember that magician made it disappear? Big television event. Oh, okay. Good. Check out Call for Zero's new video, people. It it's about that. It's a edited, shortened version of what was originally like a 2 hour movie. Ryan, it's the one that you sent me a link to. This movie, you guys, is interesting because it's another content creator, and he's big time. Uh, and he wants to sail down to the 60th and see what's going on because he believes there might not be an Antarctica. So check out that video. I'm looking forward to seeing the shortened version. Ryan says definite Lucifer symbolism. He, he's sure that broken chain and Starfort and all that business. The running theory in the Little Season community, R says, is that the Statue of Liberty represents Satan's release. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what the broken chains might represent, people. And, you know, another Mandela effect, perhaps, the Statue of Liberty just doesn't look as uh, effeminate as it used to. It looks like a dude. And I've seen the things with Elvis and all that. It's just nuts. Okay, so Call for Zero's video about the dude who believes Antarctica might not exist is up. Check that out, people. Check it out. Wow. There's also a theory that says that um, Satan's short season began in 1776. And maybe that's the real reason why that year is so celebrated. I'm going to grab my Bible here. R, what did you say about Job? Um, Man, I was outside just now looking at the clouds. Beautiful, beautiful clouds. Um, like jumbo marshmallows. Wonder what Barbara would say about all this stuff. Haven't seen her in a while. Bear with me, folks. I'm just going to take a look at Revelation 20 here. See what jumps out at me. This is the KJV. Super Sidewinder is here. Welcome. You know, certainly we're living in some kind of a thing that's like a deliberate evil Satan's season, if you will, right now in history. I mean, this world is just so evil and messed up, and it's turning into something that looks that way. It's hellish and it looks hellish. The homelessness problem is out of control. Check out Nick Shirley's new video about Los Angeles homeless camps. Um, um, whether, regardless of how you feel about Nick Shirley, you know that it's a documentation of what's going on the street right now. Check out his new video, Nick Shirley's new video. Um, between that and 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 crime on the streets that goes unchecked by the judicial system, you know, and then the political civil war, which is seems to be afoot. So definitely a time of history that could be described as Satan's season. But I think the Bible says it's a short season. Let me take a look here. And then I'll see what's happening in the chat. Thank you for joining me, people. The mark upon their foreheads. I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God. Jeez. But the rest of the dead. Okay, so groovy people went with Christ for 1,000 years, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. Wow. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle. The number is whom is the sand, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about in the beloved city. That's symbolic, people, because it feels that way. It feels that way. If you follow God and follow the truth, it feels like you're surrounded by evil and evil in people all the time, as a camp would be surrounded, encompassed. Um, then fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them. Oh man, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. Yeah. 2026 is the 250th year. If you take, oh yeah, I get it. I get it. There's 4 seasons in a year, 4 seasons in a cycle. If the 1,000 year reign is a cycle, 1/4 of that is 250 years. And 250 years from the year 1776 is right now, baby. 2026. What kind of summer, what kind of year will this turn out to be? Right now it's February 16th, 2026. And it's my friend Bibiana's birthday. I love you, Bibi, very much. Haven't seen you in 20 years. And you're one of my favorites. Happy birthday. From Guadalajara, Mexico, Bibi came from. One of the most beautiful girls. Oh, okay. Even though I bet most of them, like me, by habit, refer to the book of Revelation as the book of Revelations. Super says, we the people say enough. And you can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel it in the air and on the street. People have had enough and they're starting to realize what is going on here. One day they're going to figure it out that the government is every two-faced friend you have ever had. They say they want to help you, they secretly want to hurt you. It, and it's nothing to be afraid of. Satan is nothing to be afraid of. Evil is nothing to be afraid of. All that matters is the individual and the individual's relationship with God, with the truth. This whole world, God, that's a powerful thing from the book of Revelations that I just read about the dead that are left behind that will be around after the 1,000 years. That's us. That's it's like this is a test. Like, can you hang on to your authentic self, your authentic destiny? Will you stay loyal to God in a godless world? Do you have what it takes? By the way, Rebecca, thanks for the advice regarding this plant here, this house plant. Because you advised me to talk to it once in a while. And as crazy as it sounds, I do say a few words to this plant once in a while, and it seems to be more alive now than before I started talking to it. For real. So, more crazy talk. Are these channels? It looks like these are these content creators? Are Wake Up and CFM. Let me write that down. I'm a little tired. I slept about a half hour. I'm gonna hit the sack in a little while. But despite being tired, I thought I'd come on and talk about this because it's really something. Revelations 20 and where we're at right now. That should be interesting. I'll check out those channels if they recognize Revelations 20 and the Mandela effect. Oh wow. I didn't know that about 216. I've heard people say that 216 is some special number. Oh, wow. Call says, Call throwing down the gauntlet. Satan's little season rides on the backs of Karens. Karens are needed to do the deeds. When she bends over to pick up something, kick Karen in her backside. Watch her topple over. Have a good laugh. It's crazy the AI robots that are being built, and how often I'm seeing supermarket clerks being replaced by robots, if you will, and it's already happening. He goes on to say, Karens are hypnotized NPC. Very little free will. Well, it's funny you say that because just the other evening, evening before last, I was talking to a Karen, and it was normal and cordial and fine at first. And then she started going on one of her fucking beliefs. And even though I agreed with her and even though we were talking about something else, in fact, when she's switched gears, as she was talking at me, and she was being nice, but as she was talking, I'm looking at her face, and I'm watching it, and it just looked so strange, like an infant. It almost like morphed into her face, almost morphed into the face of a baby. It was like I was talking to some kind of infantile entity. So I quietly nodded my head and got out of there. And thankfully, my supervisor, this was at work, my supervisor took over the conversation from me. I kind of handed her the baton. And then the Karen took off, and that was it. Yeah, I think it's clear that we are the rest of the dead that Revelation refers to. All countries work together, Ryan says, to deceive you and take orders from the same entity. Yep. But you know that. And people, this kind of a craziness could be is happening. It is happening. And it could be happening without a politician's knowledge. Let's say an honest politician runs for the Senate and becomes a senator. And he's honest and innocent, but he's up against it. And he'll end up voting on party lines, uh, putting his endorsement to things that he really doesn't believe in, stuff like that, just to go along, to get along. It's a hell of a scenario. John Kerwin from Wake Up or Else. Yeah, that's good content. Hey, Rebecca, I was wondering if you knew about that story. And not just Rebecca, but anybody who hears us joking about football and brick walls and touchdowns. Do you know that story? Or I might have to tell that story again right now, this morning. That's funny. The best way to shut down the Karens, tell them you are a post millennialist. They don't understand and have too much pride to question. Ryan wants me to tell the story. Okay, here's the story. It was the summer of 1980, between third grade and fourth grade. And it was summertime, and we were in the backyard. And we had a backyard at that time that was L-shaped. So one of the pieces that make up the L was the field that we played on. So it was narrow and kind of long. And one day we were out playing. It was me against my brother, and my dad was the quarterback for both teams. And and my dad threw me a pass, and I caught it, and I thought that I was around the 50-yard line, so to speak. It wasn't a 100-yard field, obviously, but you know what I mean. The middle of the field. I thought we were like at the 50-yard line. And the reason I thought that is because we had a silver colored trash can, like a metal trash can. And it was always placed like around the 50. And when my dad threw me that pass, I could see the trash can there. So I knew I had some ways to run, and I had running room. And I told myself, catch the ball and just turn around and run as fast as you can. Just go. And I caught the ball because I have good hands. I could catch. And I caught that ball, and I turned around, and I ran so fast right into a brick wall, literally, because the end zone was the brick wall. But I thought I was nowhere near the end zone. And I smashed my face into a brick wall, and blood went running down, and it hurt so bad I thought I was going to die. And my dad and brother were standing over me, and I told them, just go. Just leave me. Let me die. And my dad sent my brother inside for paper towels. No trip to the doctor, no ambulance. Just high drama, man. I thought I was going to die. But no. I lived to see the little season. Super Sidewinder graduated in 80. Culper Zero says Ronald Reagan was elected 40th president of the United States on November 4th, 1980, defeating incumbent Democrat Jimmy Carter in a landslide. And now it's time for my Ronald Reagan impression. Remember what he told Carter in that debate? There you go again. There you go again. Remember what Reagan used to say when he was asked a somewhat challenging question? He'd always start by saying, well. R says I was 3 in 1980. All right. A reveal. Man, those 1977 people, they're really something. Really. Really. So that's the story, people. That's why we tell jokes about brick walls and footballs and near-death experiences. Ryan was 2, he says. Very funny. Very. When Pushing Buttons heard this story, he commented, because it was dramatic, he said, he acted like I told my dad and brother, you guys be there for mom. I won't be there. I'm leaving this place. And it does hurt. If anyone is wondering, yes, it hurt like hell. Call for Zero says, that hurts. I did the same running into a dumpster in the dark. Full stop. Bong. All right. Head injury stories, people. Get your popcorn. Rebecca says, I passed out at a bus stop. Hey, let's just leave it right there, huh? I passed out at a bus stop. I passed out at a bus stop and went headfirst into the cement. Fun times. I bet I bet we have all had head injuries in this community. Shook us awake. You guys, it's true. I had several head smashes when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I remember one day I was walking across a, a ditch that had no water, and there was like this weird black colored pipe that went across the ditch like a bridge, but it was round and cylindrical. And I used to walk on that like a daredevil, right? Balancing myself on this little pipe that was like this thick. And one day I fell headfirst on a big block of cement that was below. His hair was still in perfect condition. It was DEP, thank you. I used DEP and sometimes Dippity Doo, which I don't know if they make anymore. Later on, when I grew up and became a man, I graduated to Murray's Pomade. And Ryan says, I've put my head through 3 windshields, not a scratch on me all 3 times. Wow. That sounds true. I can't tell if you're joking or not, but I think you're not. Oh boy. Rebecca's making a second pot of coffee. True story, Ryan says. Man, holy moly. 3 windshields. 3 windshields, 1 garbage bin, a brick wall. Wow. 20. Who else is out there? Anybody lurking? All right. Rai Ruz, good to see you. Who else, people? Who else? Who's in the UK? Who's in the UK? Yeah, the Karen problem in our society is pretty madhouse. Um, pretty madhouse. Mm. Look at this news story, people. I don't know what happened here. This is in Turkey. He made off on a donkey. Look. Andale. And then later the cops found his loot stashed, buried. That looked fake. That looked totally fake. Probably a fake news story. Look, he uses a forklift to open up the thing and gets off the forklift, grabs. Wow. Doesn't seem like he could have grabbed much. Yeah. Just enough to carry, and then off he goes on his donkey. What's that donkey's name? What's that donkey's game? Does that donkey have any head injuries? And our friend Ford Jax is here. Good to see you, man. He made an ass out of himself. Ruby. Ruby. Don't take your love to town. Donkey out. That reminds me of the jalapeno joke. What does a nosy pepper do? What does a nosy pepper do? Gets jalapeno business. Well, there's the sun. There's the sun. Beautiful sun. Great sun. A lot of people say it used to be yellow. Was a yellow sun. A yellow sun. These people, these Mandela effect people, I love them. They're crazy. They're kooks. I don't know. I have to tell you. I think so. I think there's something to that. Yeah. All right. I'm rusty on my Donald Trump impression. I bet you guys didn't even know that was. No more. It's okay, everyone. Relax. I'm Mexican American myself, born and raised in the USA. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, speaking of the Mandela effect, for those of you who like to research Mandela effect, this is maybe a question for Sandy, but you guys remember the 1970s? Oh, please, sir, please, sir, please. No identificación. Ryan says it's going to be 60 the next 5 days, unheard of in Ohio, middle of February. Hey, man, I say enjoy it. Fuck it. Even if it's unseasonably warm for all the wrong reasons, still enjoy it. Enjoy the warmth. But of course, we don't have to tell Ryan to enjoy himself. Unfortunately, Dr. E, muy más. Muy más. R says, doesn't the constant weather change jack with you? Everyone I know is sick. You know, one thing it does to me, it doesn't make me sick, but it makes me disoriented. Where I'll get the spring mixed up with the fall and get the kind of forget what time of year you're at. That's interesting. The short season, 250 years thing. You hear that the animal rights group PETA wanted to. Wow, look at the sun up close there. This year for Groundhog Day, PETA wanted to make Puxahani Phil a hologram. Seriously, and they said that it would be cruel to animals if they did it any other way, but to use it as a hologram. To which the rest of the world responded, "Hey, PETA, why don't you all become a hologram?" Yeah, yeah. This way we can cut the lights. We can we can unplug you whenever we want. How's that? And you can all retire young. Replace yourself with holograms. Holograms of Karens and kooks. What do you call counterfeit spaghetti? An impasta. Getting back to that Mandela effect that kind of reminded me of Sandy's show. Uh, do you guys remember the 1970s Super Friends cartoon? By the way, if you haven't seen that in a while, it totally holds up. It's beautiful. The ones from the 70s. The ones from the 70s. Beautiful cartoon. Picture the characters. Picture Superman from that cartoon. Describe, and I'll ask you guys a question. If you're inclined, you can answer. If not, that's okay too. But here's the question. And in the 70s Super Friends cartoon, describe the coloring of Superman's hair. What color or colors is it? Can anyone here describe the coloring of Superman's hair in the 1970s Super Friends cartoon? Okay. I would have said it was Superman's hair was black with little random streaks of light blue. You guys remember that? Little light blue in his hair, like not as like blue dye. It wasn't stylish. It was just to indicate like the reflection of the sun. And we see that in comic books all the time. Superman's hair is black but with blue. And that's how I remember it on the Super Friends. But now when you watch the Super Friends cartoon, his hair and everyone who has black hair, Wonder Woman and Robin included, it's all jet black. There's no blue. It's just black, black, black. And it looks stark. And I think that's a Mandela effect. And it just goes to show how many things in the world are affected. It could be something small and trivial, like a cartoon. It could be something gigantic, like a continent moving, or something from the Bible changing. Haven't talked about the Mandela effect in a while. There across the sea waits my little one in a Turkish town, waiting there for me. And I know that someday we'll live in love. So the Turks say from the stars up above. So wait, you, my darling, I'm coming home to my little Turkish girl in a Turkish town. To my little Turkish girl in a Turkish town. That's Richie Valens. That's a good way of putting it, Rebecca. I still stand by the war on memory. Absolutely, people. Absolutely. You know why you go into a restaurant and or a deli or any place and try to order like a home cooked meal and it doesn't taste at all like it comes from a family or a home. Uh, and it doesn't matter the ethnicity. It could be enchiladas. It could be meatloaf and mashed potatoes. It just tastes modern, kind of plasticky. My point is they don't even want people to remember a time when food was made with love by family. The recipes were traditional. The recipes were old. I always say it's like a war on roots. They want you to forget your roots. The evil establishment wants all of us to forget our roots. Well, not hair roots. That's different. Totally, Ryan. Totally, man. Nobody can ever tell me that Ed McMahon didn't deliver Publishers Clearinghouse checks to front doors with balloons. Of course he did. I can see it now. Today's going to be a good day. I can feel it. Happy Monday, everybody. Monday, Monday. Let's see. I'm going to try to do a show coming up about predictive programming. And I'm going to show you guys some examples of that, not in the movies or television like we usually hear, but in comic books. Because things happen in comic books, then they happen in movies, then they happen on TV, then they happen in real life. So I'm going to show you guys some comic books. One of them is a Superman comic from 1980. There's that year again. And this comic was published in 1980, came out in 1980. It has a story that takes place in the year 2020, 40 years in the future. And guess what? It's about a virus. And guess what else? It's a hoax virus. So I'll show you guys that. And there's a Batman story from 1986 where the Joker is going to attack Gotham's Twin Towers. Yep. So maybe people will watch that video, maybe not. And I also want to make a video about that weird wire string I saw in the sky that time. I want to make that into like just a 1 or 2 minute video, maybe 3 minutes at the very most. What else to be on the lookout? A little bit of music, some music from now, some music from back then that I recorded. Oh, and another piece of predictive programming from the comic books. And I really want to show you guys this. There was a comic that came out in 1985, and it was called Crisis on Infinite Earths. Real quick, in this comic book, it's all about parallel universes coming together to create one universe. And so things happen where like things from other Earths are on this Earth. Yeah. Yeah. And at the very end of this whole thing, it was a 12-issue series, and it was hugely popular at the time. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was buying it in the comic book world. Yeah. And at the very end of the series, it turned out that only a select few number of superheroes remember the world before the merger, because the merger does happen completely. And nobody remembers that it was once parallel worlds except for a handful of superheroes. And that's a Mandela effect. 1985. So I want to make a video about these comic books that have predictive programming. Mad Magazine, founded in 1952. What, me worry? That brick wall got all up Joe's business. Joe's business. Very nice, very nice. Okay, people. Let's see if there's anything else going on here. We've got Family Feud questions and fill in the blanks, but I like to do those when Pushing Buttons is here. He's not here right now. Here's one fill in the blank for anybody who wants to play. We'll do one. Ready? Everybody likes a good blank. Everybody likes a good blank. Meal. Everybody likes a good meal. Everybody likes a good laugh. Everybody likes a good Philly cheesesteak. Ain't that the truth? That sounds pretty good. Code Puncher is here. Welcome. Yeah, I guess we walked right into that last one. All right, everybody. We are going to call it a day. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to play some music for a couple minutes and then I'm going to hit the button. And I'll be coming at you soon. Thank you very much for joining me. And you're right, Dr. E. Everyone does like a good cat. All right, everybody. Peace and love.